Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Patrice, and if you are planning a brand shoot or just want to take some great pictures with a photographer, I'm about to tell you the 5 questions you must ask before you sign the contract. Hey, welcome to the channel. I am Patricecameau, your content mompreneur, and I am here to give you actionable tips to help you create content a lot more easily for your business. I'm a mompreneur. I'm a content studio owner. We're actually right here in my content studio right now. Shout out to CAMPspace. And I'm back with a video that helps you. It's been a while. I'll admit it has been a while since I've recorded content in this way, but I just needed to take a break, y'all. But I am back. I am back with another great episode that I hope helps you, right? So if you're new here, welcome. There are a ton of videos. I had a podcast called Shades of Content. I have vlogs. All of it, though, centers around content marketing and being content. So definitely check that out when you finish watching this. But also, if you're not new here, welcome back. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Please make sure you are continuing to share this content with people who own businesses, solopreneurs who are using content to market their business but aren't sure how to do it or just want tips, right? Like, we're all in this together. We are all trying to get better. And so hopefully this video will help you do just that. So with me owning a content studio, with me being a director of communications for a mega church, with me being a content creator, I work with photographers all the time. Like, I love photographers and I am always sourcing new ones, working with old ones. I have photographers in my Rolodex that I have literally known for 20 years. Okay. We have great relationships. And if I'm being honest, like right now, I am getting proposals from photographers to shoot a conference that I'm doing at work. I am scheduling a content shoot for myself and my business with a photographer that I met a year and a half ago. And I am working with a brand photographer for a client. I'm managing his social media. So at this moment right now, I'm working with 5 different photographers. Again, I love photographers. I understand them. And while I'm not a photographer myself now, I will take a great iPhone picture, okay? But I am not a trained photographer. However, I have a great eye, and I think that I know what makes a great photo. I know how to capture what's happening in a shot. I know how to give direction to photographers. Like, I can give you a mean shot list. In fact, anytime I work with a photographer, they usually come back to me and they're like, dang, this was such an easy job. Thanks, Patrice. Because I'm able to give them so much direction that it makes their job really seamless. But also, I don't take away from their creativity. I say all that to say I have worked with a photographer so much, and I love it. I love it. But I also know that some of you, probably many of you watching this video, don't know the first thing that you need to know when you're working with a photographer. And that is why I created this video, because aside from so many people reaching out to me to help them find photographers, once they find the photographer that they like, they have no idea what to say first, right? So hopefully this video will give you really the script when you found that photographer and you want to work with them and just need to know what step to take next. Because sometimes not all photographers have FAQs on their website. Not all photographers have inquiry form that has, you know, an automated email that can give you the answers. Everybody doesn't have that. But even when they do, there are just some things that you as the client need to know to ask. Now, before you go asking questions, I want to make sure that you are doing your initial research. We are in the information age. We're in the social media age. And beautifully enough, these social media platforms are a gold mine for photographers, because Instagram especially, it's a photo sharing platform. That's why it was created. It has kind of morphed into so many other things. But Instagram was created to share photos. And so a photographer is going to use Instagram to share their photos, to share their portfolio. So the very first thing that you should be doing when you are trying to find a photographer is to spend some time, put some time on your calendar and just search the city that you're in, like hashtag DC photographer, hashtag New York photographer. And just start to kind of scroll down that profile, that feed, to see what content you like what photos stand out to you. Another hashtag to use is brand photographer or CEO photography or woman business owner or woman photographer, right? Like, just start to pay attention to the photos that capture your eye. Once you have started to see the vibe that you like, save those photos, start following the photographers, but use Instagram, use TikTok, use social media platforms as your initial research ground. Like, that's where you're going to find the best work from the photographers that you are interested in. That's also where you're going to be able to find the photographers that are closer to you. Doing that initial research helps you see where the photographers that you're interested in have worked before, the type of client that they've worked with before, their professionalism, right? So you can tell a lot from a company and from a vendor's social media page, right? And while everybody's needs are different, you should be using those platforms, right, to again do that initial research. And that's kind of like that cold interaction, right? But then once you find the photographer or photographers that you want to work with, you are going to have to reach out to them. And this video is what we are going to talk about today. What are the 5 questions you need to make sure you are asking your photographers before you sign the contract and even through the entire process? Very important. I'm so excited to get into it right now. So it's essential to make sure you are asking the right questions. And there are actually probably more than 5, but I just wanted to keep this list short. I don't want to overwhelm you. So let's get into it. The first question that you need to ask your photographer or the photographer that you are thinking about working with is what is included in their photography packages, okay? It is crucial that you understand what is included in their package. You need to know what you are getting. You need to know the turnaround. You need to know if they're editing, how many photos come edited, because a photographer can come here and shoot a client, right? And they're going to take probably 100 pictures, but they're not going to edit 100 pictures. You will probably only be able to select 20 photos, 10 photos that they will then edit. So you have to ask all these questions. You need to find out if lighting is included, if makeup artist is included, if you need to pay for the venue, or if that is already included in your price, right? The photographer that you work with should have very clear packages, or one package, whether it's 3 packages or 1 package. There should be a very clear laundry list of exactly what comes from them when you give them money, all right? And if their packages are super clear and they've explained everything either on their website or their media kit, whatever, then you might not even have to ask all the other questions that I'm about to share with you. But in the event that they have not put together a very complete package, again, these questions that I share with you should help guide that conversation. So the first question, what is included in your photography package? Okay. The second question, and I just hit on this in number 1, but the second question, and these are not in any order, but the second question is, what is the turnaround time for getting your photos back? Okay. And it's actually 2 dates. So we need to know when I'm going to get the folder with all the pictures. And that's where I select the photos that I love the most. But I also need to know, when am I going to get the final edited photos? Okay. When you ask that question, whatever they tell you, that answer needs to also be in the contract, because that is what the photographer is committed to doing, right? They have signed on the dotted line that they will provide this photos folder to you on this day to review by this day as your final package. And it's so important that they keep up with timelines, because if you're anything like me, you are using these photos to promote your next launch. You are using these photos to promote your brand, right? You're using these photos to do speaking engagements. So it's very important that they adhere to the timeline that they tell you so that you can plan. And again, whatever dates that they tell you, whatever time windows they tell you should be in that contract. And if they are in the contract, but the contractor, the photographer, does not adhere to them, then they are in breach of the contract. And that's a different conversation. So that conversation can look like, okay, I didn't get the photos by the date that I was due, so I need to get a discount, or I need to get another shoot. Like, you need to feel empowered to have those conversations. And so that's why contracts and asking questions is so important. Number 3, the number 3 question that you need to ask your photographers is, what is the policy for posting client photos on their marketing materials? And those marketing materials can be their social media pages, their websites, their brochures, ads, etc. Part 2 of that question, or part B of that question, is, can you opt out? Now, we will go on Instagram and you'll see a lot of photographers, right? Now, the photographer's portfolio is literally pictures of their clients. Okay, so photographers need to be able to post the pictures and use the photos that they have taken of their clients. However, as a paying client, you should own the photo, but you also have the right and should be empowered to say whether or not they're using that photo for their own marketing. Now, most people don't care, right? Most people are like, child, use the photos because it's nothing but more publicity for you and more free press for you and free visibility. But there might be times where you've decided that that photography and that photo content just needs to be shared by you. And the reasons for that, who knows, right? Maybe you're doing a photo shoot for your family, or you don't want your new brand headshot to release until you get this new position. If that's the case, you don't want the photos to be blasted on whoever's page before you do, or at all maybe. So you need to have that conversation. You need to be very clear and ask them, hey, what is the policy on posting my photo on your page? And can I opt out? If they have an issue with it, then you might want to find another photographer. Because if you've paid money, then you should own the photos. And photo ownership is probably part C of this. That needs to be somewhere in your contract that states that as the paying client, you own the photos. You have the rights to the photos. So once they submit to you the folder with the content, it is yours. It is not theirs. The reason why I'm bringing that up is because photography and creative property, and also I'm not a lawyer, so please don't take any of this like as law, literally. Definitely talk to your attorney. But I've had a lot of conversations where, because the conversation wasn't had and it wasn't clearly stated who owned the image or the likeness of the person, the photographer that took it, because they took it, was the owner. So you definitely need to make sure you have that conversation before you start taking pictures. Number 4 question that you need to make sure you ask your photographer is, do they have experience shooting in certain locations or during certain events? So I own this beautiful content space that has a ton of great natural light. There are some photographers, however, who don't work with natural light. They're studio lighting photographers. And if I'm a client that wants to shoot in a space because of its natural light, I can't work with a photographer that doesn't know how to work with sunrise, sunset, okay? So make sure you are asking your photographer what experience they have shooting in different environments, and especially different events. So let's say I'm having a huge conference with 1,000 people. If you have a photographer who you want to work with and you're noticing their page is just headshots and brand shots, you have to ask them if they have experience shooting events. Shooting an event is way different from shooting a brand, a person, okay? And that's whether it's a 10-person event or a 1,000-person event. There are so many different elements that come into play when you are doing events versus when you are doing individual family style product-based shoots. And you have to have those conversations before you sign the contract, because I would hate for you to work with a photographer that doesn't have the experience for the type of job that you need them to do. Finally, I told you I was only going to give you 5. I'm going to make this easy because I want you to be able to take these questions and get to asking. What is the cancellation or the inclement weather policy of your photographer? This is so important, and we don't think about it because we just want everything to be perfect. I'm going to show up for my brand shoot. We don't think about if our kid gets sick. We don't think about if the venue has to cancel. We don't think about if it snows. And because I own a content studio, I have experienced all of these things. So before you sign a contract with a photographer, you have to be very clear on their cancellation policy. And that's if you cancel or if they cancel, because they're human too. And you also definitely want to see about the inclement weather. You just never know what could happen. So I always want everybody to be upfront with the conversations, and let's plan for all types of things that could happen. Hopefully you don't have to worry about any of it. Hopefully you set your date, you show up, you do your thing. But if something intervenes with that, you want to always be clear that you know what the plan B is, plan C. And then also listen, when you cancel and you've already paid money, then what's the money gonna look like? So again, be very clear with this. And a lot of this stuff hopefully is already gonna be in your photographer in the contract that you sign. The other thing that I'll say is, because we are in such a creative society, you have a lot of people that are amazing photographers but aren't the best business people. So I would suggest that if you run into a photographer that you really, really want to work with, but they're not able to answer these questions or they don't have policies in place, maybe give them a chance, right? Let them know, hey, I need to have these things on paper in order to move forward, but also maybe have some other options, plan B, plan C. I think that if you are providing a service and getting money for it, you are a business and you have to take it seriously. So if you're running across creatives, photographers, videographers who aren't taking their craft to the next level, they're not being professional, they're not doing the paperwork and the administrative things that need to be done. And there are a ton of platforms that do the work for them, all right? Like, it's not like they're on an island by themselves. I work with so many photographers who are A1 professional. I mean, the paperwork, the invoice, all of that stuff is automated. So they are out there. But if you're running into creatives and photographers that don't have those administrative processes down, then maybe you use them just for like a trial to see how things go. But if you're going to be investing thousands of dollars, 4 figures, 5 figures in your photography for your business, then you absolutely need to be working with somebody who is a professional and who can stand by a contract and provide a contract and adhere to the contract. This is business, y'all. This is business. So yes, that is it. I don't even think this video is going to be 20 minutes, but that is the vibe. Like, I don't want to keep y'all forever. By asking these questions, you will be able to gather valuable information that will help you choose the right professional photographer for your needs and ensure that your photo shoot runs, impeccably. Not just photo shoot your event too, because events absolutely need photographers. Be sure to read your contracts carefully. I'm gonna say that one more time. Be sure to read your contracts carefully to make sure there isn't somewhere that says something that you don't agree with. Fine print is so hard to read, but it's so important. And the reason why it's so small is because we don't want you to read it. But you should be reading it and you should be very clear on what you are signing. I hope this helps. If it did, make sure you give me a thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything, but that is how people like me grow. I have so much information that I love to share. I'm trying to commit to being more consistent. So if this video resonates with you, show it some love. That'll be like the extra push I need. And I know we shouldn't base consistency off of people's reactions, whatever, I get it. But I'm human. So if you like it, give me a thumbs up, share it, leave some comments. And if you are a photographer, let's talk in the comments. Let me know if these questions are a bit too intrusive. Let me know if you can think of other questions that I should add to this list. I'm happy to do another video. Definitely tap in photographers and videographers because I like these conversations to be two-way. That is it. I will be back with more educational content. But in the meantime, definitely check out the subscription. I hope that you sign up for my email list where I send content marketing emails every other week because I don't want to bombard and overload your inbox. But also my Instagram is down there. My TikTok, I think, is in the description too. It was great talking to you and I will see you soon. Happy photo shoot.